Here to do some general, I guess, awareness of electric and natural gas. So you guys deal with enough stuff of ours and do with enough CO calls and stuff like that. I know I've seen some of your faces on different stops, either M&I Bank, where I think there was an old lady that parked her car on top of our gas meter. I think I saw a couple of you there. And house on Meredith that exploded a couple of years back. I remember some of you guys there. So I'll start out with electric, and then we'll talk about gas. So electric will be fairly quick. So somebody was mentioning transformers blowing up with oil. This is a substation, so you guys would be getting a call at this point, I would think. So hopefully you wouldn't see this, but there's oil.
I'm going to need the dry chem extinguisher.
So our electrical system a lot of times just sees that as load for a while, depending on how the coordination is. So that's obviously what that saw. It saw it as a load going to ground.
No problem.
No problem, right? Here's one locally. This is in Janesville a number of years back, but this gentleman had a nice dump truck, was dumping a load of, I would assume, gravel, and caught our overhead line. So he did jump from the truck. So that's we'll talk about that later. But if you are going to exit a vehicle that is energized, definitely jumping is an idea because you don't want to become a path to ground. But obviously, as you can see, not much left of that truck.
That was that off of Rormer Road?
Yes.
Yeah. Your truck was?
No. Nope.
That's in Rock County.
Yeah.
That was back when I was working for churches.
That's a bad day. Could have been worse though.
That'll buff out.
Alright, so we'll head into the PowerPoint. So just responding to that electrical emergencies, I heard you guys saying, you've probably seen wires burning on trees, transformer fires, pole fires. So all that kind of fun stuff. So obviously electricity leaves our power plant. They step it up to high voltage, so you can see a lot of these towers. We have all that out by Beloit by Town Line Road. We have all that 138,000 volt lines, and they step it up, send it long distances, and then step it down. And then around here, most of our distribution is 12,000 volts. So, and then obviously 120, 240 going to houses, and 480 volts to our customers. So poles, like I said, metal, fiberglass, steel, but mostly ours are wood. Low voltage lines, we talked about voltage on that, 480 for those industrial customers, and then 120, 240 going into our homes. A lot of our conductors, if you look up there, are bare. So they'll lay on the ground, they'll touch other things. They're not insulated. Even the ones that go into a house that have the black wrap, that's not actually insulation, that's really just for abrasion. So if you see something laying on the ground, leave it be. Stand back, let our guys, or let somebody that's qualified. I know you don't want us fighting fires, and I don't think I'm qualified. I know I'm not qualified. So, but so it's laying on a fence. We have chain link fences. You can energize a dog fence, any of that stuff. So use extreme caution. So electrical injuries happen very quickly and often without warning. Affects the human body because it's made up of about 70% water, so we're a very good conductor. So stop your heart, burns tissue, contractions of muscles. For us, operating practice, a substation fence, use the back of your hand. So at least if you get shot, if it's energized, it blows you off, pushes you off the fence. Paralysis, long-term organ damage like heart and kidneys, and obviously death. Next slide. So we have a requirement through OSHA's 10-foot clearance. So you guys probably don't do a whole lot of that with you don't have any ladders, right? So no ladders, but still, if it's a house fire, climbing on a roof, we have to climb by some of our conductors. I know you guys are real good about trying. We try to get there and get it de-energized so you guys can work safe. So call us to de-energize it. Never park vehicles under overhead conductors. Position your aerial ladders or articulating booms as far away as possible. So If any part of the aerial apparatus contacts the electrical conductor, the entire vehicle should be considered energized. So you'll see our guys working with phones around their vehicles. That's so we know that they're energized, so the guys don't go in there and touch the vehicle. Let's see. If your articulating arm contacts the electrical conductor, the firefighter in the basket should be immediately rotate away. At least that seems common sense, right? Inspect your vehicle before putting it back into service. So if you have a contact, anything from, at least if we've ever had a contact, we've always inspected. You can get wheel bearings that get welded up. May not notice it today, but maybe have a catastrophic failure later on. Rotation bearings and slide pads and such and booms. So you'd have a good thorough inspection, especially if you're going to be flying that again. Never touch a vehicle that is in contact with electrical line. So like I said, we use cones for our work practices. So we have two separate systems. We have an underground system for the underground. That's the conduit system, and obviously direct burial. Same with the overhead system and underground system. We use underground cable is jacketed and just a heavier insulation on it, and then we direct bury that in the ground or put it in conduit. And then our 120/240 that goes to our customers, the same deal, is a wire that just direct buried. So gases from them cables can accumulate in manholes and vaults. So I'm sure you guys have, same as the rest of us, you know, have to have check the air if you're going to go into a vault, and have a rescue equipment available. So you guys probably either seen one of those or got one in your yard. It's a pad mounted transformer. So obviously you have cables going in and out of that, anywhere from 120 volts up to that 12,000 volts. So they sit on a fiberglass pad. Lawnmowers are good for running into these. So if you have one that's buried a little deep, you know, dirt's up a little higher, easy to run into with a driving lawn tractor. If you got one of the big skid loader like ones I call them, you know, like a big Scat or a zero turn mower, they're easy to bump into. They are bolted down, but they don't. It's easy to knock them off the pad. So if you knock one off the pad, just call us, we'll come out and put it back on, because there will be exposed conductors.
In my neighborhood, what was it, 2 or 3 years ago, they changed the overhead wires to all being underground,
Gotcha.
and my neighbor next door and across street had them in their yard.
Yep. Those aging systems in the backyards aren't real accessible for us to work on or trim trees on. So down wires, we talked a little bit about it. Our energy, you know, should be treated as down, as energized and dangerous until proven otherwise. So it's impossible to lay there on the ground. It could be going to ground. We have some of that wire that's at 7,000 volts. It's got that black insulation on it. We use it along tree routes. So it'll lay right on the ground, energized at 7,000 volts. You go to grab it, and you're close enough to the end, it'll come, you know, it finds its path to ground. So sometimes they'll jump, whip around, curl, make loud sounds in mid showers. Sometimes you see it burn on the grass. If it's sandy enough, it'll make glass on the ground. Don't be like these guys standing underneath it. You can see that, but it's car versus pole. You guys probably respond. I know you guys respond to more than enough of that. So, all that's holding that pole up right now is a wire. And if you look at the construction stand or the way the way overhead lines are built, it's just porcelain up there that could just, you know, it's like a coffee cup. You could break any second. So, down wires arriving on the scene, you establish a safety zone that only authorized persons may enter. Minimum 2 spans, so span of the wire is pole to pole, so minimum of 2 spans away in each direction of that down wire. So stresses may be placed on poles adjacent to the down wire, causing them to break or fall, like that previous picture we looked at. You know, that's pulling on that porcelain, and then the poles each way, obviously. So, like I said, wires can slip through insulators or sag to the ground if adjacent spans of wire. Be alert for conductive materials in the ground with the fallen wire. So we're talking metal fences, guardrails, metal buildings, that car. Don't touch the injured individual until the wire is moved away from the body. So if you got a contact. Down wires. This is our super secret number right to our dispatch center. So I'll be sharing the PowerPoint with Sean, but Please don't share that. It's so when you guys call it, we can get somebody responding right away. So you don't have to call our call center and talk to anybody and ask them. You don't have to ask you 10 questions if you want to, English or Spanish. If you're calling about payment arrangements or budget billing or moving. So this is for you to get a hold of somebody ASAP, so we can get somebody dispatched out there. Because many of our on the electric side of the business, our nighttime responders don't take the trucks home, so they have to report to our shop at Town Line Road, and then come out here to see you guys. Again, never attempt to move or cut any down conductors. Wood and fiberglass pipe poles are not the same as insulated hot sticks, so I don't know if you guys have pipe poles anymore or not, but we test our sticks all the time for 20,000 volts. Make sure we're keeping our guys safe. They're waxed and clean, especially for that. So yours may not be as clean. So whenever the wood is an insulator, but if it's wet or dirty, it won't insulate. So firefighter boots will not insulate or isolate you from a voltage source. We were talking Facebook a little earlier. I just watched, follow a couple. It just came up on my news feed, but there's a fire department down south somewhere, but they had shown a firefighter's boot with a hole in it. And if you stepped in electric, and they had just using that as a path, but same deal. It just arcs. Looks, a smaller version of what that transformer fire we showed you was. So. And then high voltage wires are not insulated, so most of them are bare aluminum. So substations, if you get a call to one of our substations, hopefully it's not like that previous one, because I'll be getting called in. But don't enter it unless you're accompanied by an Alliant Energy representative. A lot of this is, like I said before, we touch that fence to make sure it's not energized, depending on what's going on there, but a lot of this is just bare galvanized steel or aluminum conductors. So get in there with a buck, get in there with one of your trucks. There's a lot of energized parts there that you can get a hold of. Like I said, high voltage lines entering the substation over at underground. There's that open bus work, conductors, pipe, crisscrossing in the station and have fairly low height. I mean, some of that's within a reachable distance. So you could reach into 12,000. You were not aware of what was going on. That oil filled transformer, capacitors, and regulators. So all that equipment in there is most of that equipment is oil filled. So obviously there's toxic smoke and gases due to the burning oil, and most of the power transformers carry quite a bit of oil, so it's going to be more than a little fire. So, no different than a building structure fire. You're going to have classic steel framework or aluminum bus work if you have a fire. Obviously, the explosion for the oil-filled equipment. Lead acid batteries in our control houses. A lot of our, we have backup batteries for our control houses to control all our equipment for that substation. So, probably lead acid batteries, probably about a bank about as big as this table, about 2 or 3 of them in each of those sub houses. So, obviously, you guys know what lead acid batteries and fires and stuff like that don't always do well. So they're on constant charge. There's always some of that hydrogen gas being produced there. Exploding gas and porcelain insulators, and then just falling wires. Video already. By here. So when you arrive at the scene, check for potential hazard before reacting to the accident. Like I said, don't be like these guys standing underneath that wire pole. Wires may be energized other than objects that are in contact with, such as the guardrail, fence, or telephone. And then overhead conductors that could fall at any time and result in an accident. So, car versus poles, if there appears to be a possibility of fire, you lay out your hose and lines, your ran alert. You guys are probably thinking, boy, this guy's doing this, we do this all the time. So, but, and then just establishing that safety zone and immediately notifying Alliant Energy. So, helping that individual in the car if the power line has fallen on the vehicle and anything attached to it, such as a camper or a trailer, may be energized at a hazardous voltage. Never touch a vehicle that is in contact with an overhead power line. Cautiously approach the vehicle. Again, no closer than 10 feet. So So tell that driver or passenger to remain in the vehicle.
What's the next?
So if it is imperative to have the occupant exit the vehicle, it must not contact the ground and the vehicle at the same time. Again, you become a path, correct? I don't care how big your Nikes are. You're not gonna be insulated, so. Again, this is only if it's imperative for them to get out. Coach them, you could coach them to jump with both feet together and as far away as possible from the vehicle, and then avoid from them falling back. First thing we want to do is to have them come in contact with the vehicle again. So once they're on the ground, they should use small shuffling steps to move away a safe distance. So if that's a high enough voltage and it's trying to get to ground, there could be some currents in the ground. If you shuffle your feet, you're going to reduce that potential. So if a metal object touching the ground comes in contact with an overhead power line, electricity will travel down through the metal and find the easiest way to the ground. So this could be through you if you're standing near or touching the vehicle. So we usually get 1 or 2 of these a year. You get somebody with a roof rake. It gets too close to our overhead line. They're trying to rake snow off their roof in the middle of winter. Usually when they show up, they got their wet gloves on. They're usually pale as a ghost. They get hurt, but they're usually scared the life out of them, you know. Or somebody taking down, getting less and less of them, but somebody's taking down antenna towers. You get them from time to time. A little bit about that, the forces. So if you get a difference of potential and you're not shuffling your feet, you could become a control the other. So again, shuffling those feet. Burning again. Structure fires you guys deal with, obviously usually do not need to interrupt the electric service to the entire building. So we leave the power on as long as you can safely, for lighting during the fire. You guys know once they get full of smoke you can't see anything anyways. So we're usually out there to cut power. You guys require us that we'll de-energize the affected area, remove the fuse, opening the circuit breakers, or safely switches as needed, opening main disconnects, or de-energizing the entire building. So, let's see what's possible here. So just a reminder that pulling a meter doesn't always kill a building. So especially you get a larger commercial building, that meter doesn't really just measures the current flow. It's just around the wire. It's just taking a current reading off that. So I think you're doing us a favor by pulling that meter. You're actually probably creating a bigger hazard. So you pull a meter where it's not, where the electricity doesn't actually flow through it, you actually create another fire hazard or explosion hazard. So it'll build up amperage and voltage until it can go to ground, and then it'll flash over, cause a flash. So you guys know this, but if we got a fire, interrupt the service. If it's not able to be re-energized that night, or we need to get an inspector out there to take a look at it, we'll wait till the morning, let somebody inspect it before we re-energize, or make the, gut the panel out, or whatever we need to do to get it, so they can start drying it out if they're going to try to rehab it. I'm going to help myself, so never pull a meter. They're not switches. Some of those automatic, some of these meters, even like this, will have an automatic bypass on them. So, and if you guys get into the east side of Beloit, but we've got some people over there that are very crafty. They use butter knives, coat hangers, copper bars. I've seen speaker wire, whatever they can find if they've been disconnected for non-pay or we've taken the meter. So we've got them as bold as climbing our poles, or we cut it at the pole. Can't make this stuff up, and you guys see it every day too, I'm sure. So
Job security.
take the labels off. I've added that out. So never pulling that electric meter. If explosive gases are present in the building, we'll talk about that a little later with gas. But if you pull a meter and create an arc, you can act as a as an ignition source. So. Meter glass exposed to heat and fire can build up internal stress and explode on contact. A lot of our meters have gone to plastic now, kind of a throwaway or cheaper or they have electronics in them, but they still can build up gases. The energized contacts in the meter are left exposed if you use a pole meter, so you'll see a lot of our guys either cut it at the pole or we got a clear plastic plate we'll put on there. If there's a chance we might re-energize, reset a meter. So a little bit on explosions and fires and manholes. I don't think there's anything in this area other than maybe like Beloit College and a little bit downtown Beloit, so you guys probably would never, unless you're mutual aiding or a box alarm or something of that nature. But, obviously, if you have a fire, you're going to smoke in a manhole. Flammable gases are present. Remove the cover, provide enough air to cause an explosion. So removing that cover sometimes is worse than just leaving it be. If you have a transformer that's failed and the oil is above the ignition temperature, removing the manhole may cause a backdraft. And there's spark resulting from removing the cover may cause a natural gas. If that happens, it's not your day, that's for sure. Removing your manhole, you create a spark enough to explode gas. But so an explosion of a manhole can propel a manhole cover, which weighs about 270 pounds, a significant distance. Hopefully we'd be on site. If manhole covers off, do not enter the manhole or take any further action. Discuss response with other Alliant Energy employee on site. So manholes are treated as highly hazardous confined spaces. We talked about that a little bit earlier. But, you guys would have, at least we would have. I know we do. We check for air and we use our sensors set up for that, and then we would have rescue equipment on site and harness and lanyard and all that stuff for the guys. So. Unless human life is at stake, there's no great urgency to extinguish a fire or enter a manhole. It goes for our pole fires too. Usually there's not, usually the damage is done. It's already on fire. We're self-insured, so just let it burn. Don't spray water on it. As long as nobody's gonna get hurt, so. Because there's maximum damage and the contents has already taken place. If we got a transformer on fire, it's already blown the oil out of it, it's getting replaced, so. Talked a little bit about this already, but never open any of our ground-mounted equipment or attempt to extinguish a fire until de-energized by Alliant Energy personnel. You could be electrocuted. We had one of these this spring, actually. I think it was the city of Beloit College. We have a switchgear, 12,000 volts, just a switching cabinet. We have garbage tanks to get in there every year. They get in the basement of it. They can't get out. They climb up our cable. There's open energized parts in there. They got in there between two substations. Well, substation saw it as load, right? So we had a fire. We get there. There's people spraying water on our switchgear, and it's still energized. So it's made to be insulated, but you just don't know what's going to happen when you have a fire in there. So. For vehicle, like we talked, more cars, handle it as if the electric line was on the vehicle. So we've got cars parked on top of a few of them. We'll kill it and then get everybody out, get the car off and get them to safety. So I'm giving this presentation now, right? Pole line fires, let it burn. And those poles are, they're treated poles. Transformer's already on fire. The wire damage has already probably been done to the wire, or it's going to burn down anyways. It's electrified still, so spraying water on it's not probably the best option. So, rescue operations. If a person has climbed a pole or entered a substation, you are called to the scene. Do not assist the person until Alliant Energy arrives on the scene. You can endanger the victim and/or yourselves. So. Couple animal pictures. One on the left is a raccoon. This just goes to show the one on the right is a squirrel, but I didn't bring it today with me. But squirrels, a lot of that is just aluminum wire. But squirrels' teeth continue to grow, so they gnaw on everything. We were unable to save either one of those animals.
No muskrats are involved.
I'm a farm kid, but I never knew coons could climb. I mean, I really used to climb in the barn, but I never really climbed the pole and stuff. I cannot believe the damage they do. So, I don't know if you guys still get this, but rescued cats, other animals that have climbed utility poles. Many firefighters have lost their lives while attempting to rescue animals. So, if it's anywhere near our stuff, call us. We'll give you guys all the. You guys can take the picture in the paper and all that stuff. We don't want the fame. We just want no one to make it hurt. So, so let's hear. Check carefully to see if there's any overhead lines. Depending where you're at, sometimes in town there, we'll have lines running right through there. Like I told you before, we had some of that 7,000 volt cable that has a black conductor on it where we thought it was a good idea back in the 70s. So we wouldn't have to trim the trees, so we'd put that conductor in. So you could be up there, next thing you know, you could have a bare spot, or you could be looking you right in the face. So look around. So never touch a power line or allow a tree branch to make contact with the line. So I don't know if you guys talked a little bit about that conductor, but I worked in Delavan, the Delavan area for quite a while, where the lake people don't really like their trees trimmed. And if it'll mix contact, that black, if it wears through and gets down to the conductor, it will actually just start on fire, and then it's just like a piece of, I don't know, like a tire almost, but it burns, it'll melt off, it'll just lay there and burn, and next thing you know, you get a call, you got a fire on, pole fire, or wire on fire, or arc and spark on wire, so let it burn. Questions? Well, I'll get ready to go. I'm going to pass around. So many of you guys have probably seen this. It's something similar to this, but you get out of a house fire and you're looking for gas shut off. So we usually don't get too worked up about you guys shutting it off, but I want you to notice this is a welded steel. This is usually on our 115 pound or greater system. This is usually wrapped with a black tar wrap. Tape wrap. So I didn't bring the tape wrap with me today. It's getting pretty ratty, but you'll see that when we peeled the wrap off there, the metal that pulled off with it. So you get out there to try to shut a gas meter off, you crank on that, it won't go because we don't operate those valves very often. And now you have a problem like this. Now you've just created a situation that's way worse. So I'll pass that around. And then the second one I'll pass around is a piece of pipe that was through a wall in a house. You'll see some of the, or you'll probably see more and more of this. We're getting, houses are getting older. We've been serving them for longer and longer, but houses, pipe that goes through a wall in a house should have a wrap on it, some sort of like 10 mil tape, essentially like an electrical tape. But that was never really enforced by code, and we never enforced it. So if you look real closely, there's a pinhole on this one. This is we responded to a gas leak in the wall. And that's what we found. So.
Is that just the normal corrosion that does that?
Yeah. So what happens? Yeah. You just got a piece of pipe through a wall, and get rain coming down that wall, and the pipes just collects moisture and condensation.
Stays wet.
Yep. Never. It's usually a tight enough fit. So.
House moves.
What we've been finding them recently is we'll go out to do work on our gas meter, and you go to turn that pipe or you bump it. Next thing you know, you got that's a pipe on the outlet side of our meter. I'll probably talk about that. Is actually used to support that meter to keep it level. You bump it, next thing you know, the meter's tipped over, or and now it was working fine when you guys got here. Yeah, it was barely. Like I talked to you guys, some of you guys I saw you at, I'm fairly new in the area, how about that? I've only been with Alliant Energy in the Beloit area for 2 years as the operations manager. So I have both gas and electric for Beloit. I would take care of Clinton, obviously in just the greater Beloit area, but about 4 weeks, I was on a temporary assignment, 4 weeks in July 7th, I believe it was, for a house explosion in Beloit. So that was my introduction to natural gas and emergency response. So, a lot of you guys were out there. I don't know if a lot of you were or not, but I saw some of you guys out there in Meredith. I was there, I was there pretty much the whole night, seeing you guys rescue the gentleman out of the basement, up the ladder, and It was a day kind of like today, probably a little more muggy, I think, if I remember right. So commend you guys for wearing that heavy gear and doing all that hard work. So. But that's one of them calls that we don't ever want to get. I know you guys don't like getting them either, but as a natural gas operator, there, we have a high standard to keep gas flowing and safe. So some of that stuff that we found earlier was found on preventative maintenance, luckily, and not because of a call-out. So some natural gas basics. So natural gas is lighter than air. So LP falls to the basement, natural gas rises. So colorless, tasteless, odorless. So plus we mix with air to ignite. So flammable range is 4 to 15, depending on who you talk to. Could be a little more greater, but 4 to 15% to explode. So you need an ignition source. Natural gas is non-toxic. It can displace oxygen in a confined space in a closed area, so suffocation, right? And we make natural gas stink by adding mercaptan to it. So you guys, we got that Lathers Road gate. I'm sure you guys we go there more than we ever want to.
We gave right up the street there,
Town line.
building,
Yep.
does everything.
Sean?
So we deliver it to homes and business through our underground pipelines. Brought a piece of that. So this is obviously our large diameter pipe, but this is a 1-inch plastic that we run for our, could be run to a service to a house or commercial. Usually on houses we use 1/2-inch plastic, so it passes around. You'll notice this is rolled, not as leak, but this is actually just, this is a defect from when they put it together. If you look at it, they didn't fuse it right. So this is a good indication of what kind of pipe we use for our up to 60-pound systems. Then anything over 60 is steel. You guys have plenty of that around here with Hart Road area and some of that coming over the interstate, coming this way. Town line, we have some 20-inch pipe up there, all steel, running at up to 1,000 pounds. So gate stations, we talked about the Lathers one. There's one on Town Line in J. State line, you guys is?
Yep.
Yep.
I was there probably 2 years ago. We had a little fire, short or something. That control line was burning. So, and then we take it from that gate and lower the pressure. A lot of the, the power plant down on town line. A lot of the northern natural lines coming up through along the interstate. There's a lot of high pressure gas in the area. So natural gas delivery system comes from gathering lines or wherever they're mining or wherever they're drilling for it or fracking or whatever they're doing today. They compress it, they pump it up, and then they bring it out and either store it in the UP of Michigan or wherever we store it for the winter, and then we bring it back through our transmission lines back to serving you guys as customers. Ugly yellow markers that everybody has, nobody likes to have in their the grass line or the dish line. So that's a requirement for us, so people know that there's pipeline in the area. Because believe it or not everybody calls diggers hotline. So you guys get a lot of them calls. So pipeline markers show approximate location of underground pipelines. So it tells the material transported, us as the operator, and then an emergency phone number. So we talked about this a little bit, but you guys got the state line gate. There's some that runs up along through your territory. So, County Jane Town Line. And then all this down in here, so we'll be moving a lot of that with interstate projects, so see us working. We talked about not everybody calls diggers hotline. Number one cause for pipeline incidents is third-party damage. So digger, excavators gonna put a mailbox in this weekend. I don't know if we got any pictures in here, but we've been finding a lot of people like to build fire pits over our plastic line. Doesn't work out real well.
Makes for a hell of a fire.
Yeah, so we haven't had any problems here, but I think out east they've had problems. So. Here's an excavator that didn't do so well. This is actually our underground contractor, not in this area, but it was our underground contractor. We got a hold of a gas pipe. Here's the Out there, this is probably out east somewhere in Nebraska or something, ripping for drain tile or irrigation. So. No pipeline markers, no diggers.
I'm gonna have to call my boss.
Yeah. Be lucky enough to walk away to call
If
the
he's
boss,
lucky,
right?
he might have been able to call. So,
This is a road grader, so something a little simple as a road grader grading roads. We got a lot of services across the road, you know, we put main on one side and serve houses both ways, you know, across the road. So they're cutting grade, not paying attention, or we had one that was shallow, didn't hand excavate it, probably caught it. And, if you ever had an engine take off on natural gas, there's no shutting her down, so who knows what happens. Just another excavator on fire. Not sure where the origination of that is. See if I can get this to play.
His expression was priceless.
So these
because
guys
it
are
was, oh my gosh.
responding to a gas odor.
Well, the tremendous heat
Yes.
also gave Skyfox quite a ride. Describe that for us.
We got a little ride out of it. I was repositioning the aircraft on the downwind side of the scene, and as I did, I flew through the heat and the thermal that was being generated by the fire, and kicked us up another 400 or 500 feet. Pretty quick ride
Wow.
to a new altitude.
See, yeah, here. See where it's migrating, the gas is blowing up the pipe, riser pipe or conduit of that pole. Utility workers there, you know, obviously trucks in the way. Electrician or electrical truck there. Something caused an arc up there on the pole. Might have had a hot spot, who knows? And obviously there was natural gas in the area. So who knows if it was following a conduit? You know, anytime you trench something, you could have a, you know, the soil is not as compacted, so it's going to follow that route or follow that cable.
Do donuts burn? Cause that cop car, like,
I don't claim that.
They always are though.
So this could be a full-time job for most people, but if you see somebody digging in here that's not marked, please contact them about the utility right away. So we see it all the time, and it doesn't matter if it's homeowner, road contractor, somebody putting concrete contractor. 2 years, no, probably 3 years ago, election time, we see all them posts pounded in alongside the road, you know, with their signs on them. There's and then between Janesville and Boyd on Afton Road there's always signs that we have a gas main right in the ditch. And it's, I've stopped a couple times, talked to people, and probably the same talk you guys give to people about like changing batteries on smoke detectors and CO detectors. Goes in one ear, goes out the other, so. Natural gas leaks, so the outside leaks, line breaks, third-party damage, and then we have gas leaks inside, so. Let's see here. Takes the right amount of natural gas and air along with an ignition source to create an explosion, so. Natural gas, upper explosive is 15, so you get over that 15%, you're okay. Lower explosive living is 4% gas and air. Did the house explosion on Meredith, maybe just a little bit on that, but we have a automated meter reading. We can see how much gas they're using per hour. And the gas was flowing there for quite a while before anybody noticed that there was any gas issues. So I don't know how, you know, I don't know if it's one of the deals that they didn't smell it or became immune to that smell. You know, after 30 seconds, your nose becomes, you know, fairly immune to that. I'm not sure what happened, but so no smoking, no doorbells, don't touch anything that might create a spark, such as electric light switches or cell phones. walking on carpet can ready to spark, turn off your engines or other power equipment. Security systems, we're at M&I Bank, we kill the power to the building and you hear this beeping. USBs, all these computer USB systems. Kind of a freaky moment. So, we have intrinsically safe flashlights. Our guys take their pagers, radios, cell phones off. The source has, and then any source between 900 and 1100 degrees. So establishing an effective perimeter, evacuate the public to a safe distance, eliminating the ignition sources. So we got to kill it at the pole down the street, kill the whole neighborhood. We will protect life and property, and then turn off engines and other power equipment. Because I just see, your truck or car, just use that as a fuel source. So propane explosion, like we talked, usually propane settles, it's heavier than air. Saw that already. So we have on-call responders 24 hours a day to assist for gas orders. So our employees are specially trained to operate natural gas equipment and want to make the situation safe. So our inside responders, so if you have an inside odor or a CO call, they take their trucks home, so we can try to get the quickest response time. So at night, they usually can jump in their trucks. They have to live within 20 minutes of the shop. Actually, all of our employees have to live within 20 minutes of the shop. So they are able to respond right away. If it's an outside order, they do have to go to the shop to get a truck or equipment to come and respond. So we talked a little bit about gas valves. That works better here. You have the shut-off valve there. It's a little bit different style than I've got pictured, but that's typically where we shut off at. On any of our newer sets or any times we're there to do work, we're trying to put in a customer shut-off valve where we supply that for the customer. Just gives another option to shut gas off. So either work, if you have the option, shut it off there, and then the customer can do whatever they want, reintroduce gas or whatever. But sometimes you only have the lower option, so we understand. So do not operate underground valves or valves inside rig stations or fenced-in areas of gate stations. These valves can cause serious problems elsewhere in our system. So if we were ever to have a fire out at Lathers or something like that, let us operate the valves. Probably already, if it's on fire, it's already on fire, or if we have blowing gas, we have a perimeter set up, we're okay with that. If you guys have been on any dig-ins with us lately, or we'll a lot of times let it blow, try to figure out how the system's configured, and maybe see if we can limit the number of customers that we have to go back and restart appliances on. So, or we can build a bypass or do something of that nature. Gate station. Come across that Phil Howard, see Northern Natural's got a pretty big one there. Natural gas reg station, so one of these on Shopier as you're leaving town going towards Beloit here, up on the north side of the road. So if you shut gas off at the meter valve, that'd be the one down in the lower left on that picture. Alliant Energy, give us a call. We'll come out and turn it back on. If you turn that back on, you can get some funky gas odors and burping going on. So rupture, may rupture if you turn it on too fast, so, or if there's gunk in the line. Now we're opening a gas valve that has been closed. We just talked about that. You can get all kinds of funky stuff going on. We'll come out and check for potential problems and restore service to that customer. So natural gas can migrate underground, so we check nearby buildings and structures. So we don't ring doorbells when we check other homes. That's a really hard habit to get out of, knocking on doors. At night, it's real fun because people turn their light on first thing. Well, if you have a natural gas leak, rotten egg smell, hissing, whistling, or roaring. You guys had the station over on Shore Pier where they parked the car on top of it?
Yeah. That was quite the roar.
That was, I think, 390, I think that was. 390 pounds of gas, so. We blow down that 20-inch out by Alliant J once in a while. That's the same deal. It shakes the ground. that's 1,000 pounds. We try to get the line down to about 700 before we pull it out. If you're like me, I'm thinking all that gas I could have for my old house.
Yeah.
20 inches times how many miles? And 700 pounds. So yeah, but we try to get it down as low as we can. Obviously, depends on the year or time of year. So, dying or dead vegetation in an area that is otherwise green. So we've had we have an aging infrastructure this year. We've had a few that we found. Looks like somebody sprayed Roundup on the ground, and could be about half the size of this table up here. And that's what the guys are doing. They're out there checking for leaks. We walk our residential services every third year they get inspected, and our main gets done once a year on all of our main. So, but it was either didn't catch it or just happened, frost heat or something. But we got a couple of them this year. Not to be confused with somebody's dog that killed the grass. We've had those calls too. So if you smell gas, give us a call. Water bubbling in a puddle, river, pond, or creek. So additional gas tactics. Approach the wind with, seeing with the wind at your back. We park the same way. So we'll pull up on a job site or a call. Use a calibrated natural gas detector to confirm if gas is present. So I don't know if you guys use Sensits or if you guys will use that. And then obviously the nose usually tells you too. When we investigate natural gas leaks at no charge. If gas is escaping outside, keep water out of the excavation where gas is blowing. We're selfish. We got to get that hole later on to fix it. It's going to be a money mess. But we understand if you got it, you guys have been real good mist, foam. I think it was M&I Bank is the one I was at. You guys put a mist on there. Do not enter an enclosed area such as a back excavation, sewer, vault, pit where gas is blowing. So if you notice, we don't enter any of our own blowing gas pits. We always dig remote holes and control the gas from there. So if we have blowing gas here, we're going to dig a ways away where we can find a safe spot, dig down, squeeze it off, or put a fitting, some sort of clamp or squeeze off on there. Just squeeze the gas, stop the flow. So obviously, natural gas can displace oxygen in those areas. And static electricity may accumulate on plastic pipe, creating additional hazards. Again, let it burn. Less life is in danger. If you try to extinguish it, most times what we find is you extinguish it, it just reignites anyways. You got that static electricity, whirling gas. If it's burning, at least we know it's contained. So instead of getting that, gas everywhere like we showed in that picture, you have a whole, half the city block that's got gas at an explosive level. We'll try to extinguish it with water. So dry chemical, like I was talking about that with the transformers blowing up, but fog spray to protect personnel, prevent the fire from spreading. Burning gas may ignite surrounding combustibles. So allow us to do what we do and assist you at the scene of a gas emergency. Include response procedures for natural gas incidents and in your emergency preparedness plan. So I don't know what you guys do, but we have an emergency preparedness plan. If we do have a dig-in or a disaster, who's to be called, and what equipment we have, and who has that equipment on their trucks. And we'd be more than willing to be included in any of your disaster drills if you do tabletops or anything of that nature. That's it. And I brought the gas house so we can pull it up a few times if you want.
Yeah. Well, let's do it.
Questions, concerns?
What's a good distance to keep our vehicles back on a gas station incident?
Like gas station. Well, they've got underground tanks, so I'm not.
No, I mean as in your pumping stations.
My pumping stations. Were you at State Line Road?
No, I wasn't.
You remember what the guy told us? I think he told it was like a quarter mile. we probably are more, depending on pressure and size of pipe, so, but like any MD stations, I think, I can't remember what state line is for pressure, because there's 2 ties there, but further is better.
Yeah.
Because you can't get fast, you know, you can't run that fast, so. And then you play in the wind. So I'm not really answering your question, but play the wind. If you're, you know, it can be upwind, it's blowing away from you. Yeah, wind at your back. Correct, wind at your back. I'd rather have too big of a perimeter, so. If it's anything. I know we've had in the city of Lloyd or township where we've evacuated more than we've had to. We had to get like city buses or whatever in the middle of winter. Oh, I'm sorry, we got you out of bed at 2 in the morning, but I'd rather be doing that than having to call your loved ones and tell them, you know what? Or in court, well, why didn't you do that, Jerry? You know, so. Unfortunately, as a utility, we are on the hook for. We'll use that Meredith Hall explosion as an example. Some of the follow-up to that was we had, you know, cause and origin specialists, investigators out there, insurance companies, and I mean, even to move a piece of pipe in the basement, all 3 of them had to get in because we had our own, and both insurance companies had their own. And they all had to get in and take a picture. Okay, now does everybody agree we can cut the pipe here? Yep, we got the pipe there. Cut the pipe, bring it out, lay it on the ground. Everybody takes pictures. We were there a day. And we already knew what the cause was. We were there a whole day just to get that far to get a section of pipe out of the ground, you know, or out of the basement before they could even work on it. Yeah, so I can't imagine if it was a questionable incident, you know, where it was like where the utility, you know, migrating gas, or they couldn't figure out what was going on. Pockets. So, I mean, I got a file, paperwork probably that stinking thick on that, you know, from notes and documentation, and pictures, and I got pictures. I took pictures. I was on the, so if you're on the south side, we were taking odor and reading. Make sure we had odor in our gas when you guys were pulling the gentleman out of the basement. So I was standing there taking pictures. The stove was laying there in the driveway. I got all kinds of pictures and files and stuff on that, and I was notified again to make sure that I kept all that because there's still stuff going on with it.
Any investigation, you're pretty much screwed to get involved.
Well, yeah, I agree. I'm keeping all of it, but just as far as it was I don't know how much you guys know about it, but it was an open pipe in the basement. The guy installed his own stove and left the pipe open. Turned the gas back on and. What's that? I don't know. It looked like about a 3/4 inch piece of pipe. Gas just flowing. I never heard it. And went downstairs. Best we can tell. Said he heard a rumbling in the basement. Went down, hit the switch, and.
We had one, that was a few years ago over there, IOLA, what was, I don't remember which road it was. But the house filled up all weekend, and weren't they sweeping in the basement, cleaning the house? It was a vacant house because it was a rental.
Oh, yeah.
And they hit the pipe coming to the dryer downstairs. No dryer there, I don't even think. I didn't went downstairs.
She just hit the
Opened the
valve.
valve, and then they basically left, and we got called. It was Sunday, wasn't it? But filled up all day, 2 days, almost a day and a half.
They went shopping or something, when they come back, it was full.
The people that
No, I think it was the
couldn't
next
smell
day.
natural gas.
Yeah. So, good thing it got above
Yeah,
50%
about
before
50%.
anybody.
I've had before I came to Alliant Energy, I did general contracting. I had a heating contractor do the same thing. Piped in some stuff in the morning, or worked there. Young kid was working there, and thought he had the fireplace hooked up. Never hooked. Went from steel pipe to ward flex, or the flexible pipe. Never hooked that up. Turned it on. I don't know when he turned it on if he didn't notice the meter was just humming. But I worked night shift at the time, so he left at like 4 in the afternoon. I come back at 7 the next morning. It had been running all night.
Wow.
Never, brand new house, it was almost finished. But, I lived up by Brooklyn, Wisconsin. trying to think, wood, we went on wood a couple of years ago. Wood? Yeah. We get all kinds of people scrapping houses out or foreclosures, guy ripped the pipe down, you know, same deal, scared the crap out of him. You know, he's gone and the pipe's ripped off in the basement. Pipe in basement becomes a good place for people to hang clothes, their hunting gear, I don't know, drying, you know, whatever they're drying out. I've seen bags of potatoes hanging on them. We've seen all kinds of stuff. We had one this summer. I didn't bring one today, but those you get a flex connector on a stove or a dryer. The old brass ones are notorious for, we take them out, we don't turn the service on anymore, because the brass ones will just break or crack. So we had one recently, a dryer, the flex connector either cracked or was loose, blowing gas, and then the dryer was running. Also, next thing you know, the back of the dryer's on fire in a basement. Luckily, that's all it was, but. Like I say, you can't make some of this stuff up.
What's Alliant's position on NXT piping?
NXT as in like CSST?
Yeah.
So there's NSC, you know, NEC has, you know, code out there now if you're supposed to bond it. So we write those up. We don't have the jurisdiction to enforce it.
Okay.
If we shut one off and we go out there and it's not bonded, we will not turn it back on. But if it's operating already, we will leave it running. The new stuff has the ground shielding on the outside. Yeah, so if you look at like Wardflex or whoever the manufacturer is now, if it's a black wrap, that usually typically means that it's got the bonding on the outside already. It's one of the things, no different, you know, batteries and smoke detectors, like I'll say that again. We leave caution notices for customers all the time on that stuff, and it's the same old people. I mean, every time we go there, it's a caution notice. And if it was my own house, I'd have it fixed. You know? It all takes a lightning strike. Now you have, that's the, you know, path of least resistance. Now you have a hole in it. So
You got that really cheap stuff for Brian's house, didn't you?
I requested.
I just use PVC, it's all good.
And, you know, not to knock building, this is not a knock on building inspectors, but we had one recently in Beloit, downtown building, you know, rehabbing it. One of the local big investors in town is doing this, you know, trying to revitalize the downtown. We get called for a gas odor. You get there and we're chasing it, and it's up in the ceiling tiles, you know, got drop ceilings, something like this. We're up there, and you know, it's like 10-foot ceiling, so we got our sense it on. We got an extension rod for a sense it. And we just can't find it. We can smell it. So you get a whiff of it once in a while. Come to find out, you got a piece of that Wardflex, like a 1-inch. We have a 2-pound pressure on that pipe. Pull through a stud, some drywaller or somebody else, got a screw through it. And, you know, and I don't know which guys are building code, but they're supposed to have plates on all that stuff. And, but it's like anything else, you can't police everything. So, but yeah, something like that. I mean, brand new building where you think you'd never have a gas odor problem.
How do you guys feel about the general public calling you about wires and trees if they want tree limbs? I mean, how often does that happen?
All the time. We've gotten, what'll happen now is you can either do it online or call us. There's a line clearance request out there on our website, so, and then you can put your address or pole location or whatever it is. They'll come and take a look at it. We've gotten pretty, get the camera running? We've been financially responsible. So like pull the house, we don't trim any of that anymore. And that 122 40 volt cable from pole to pole, we're not very good at trimming that either. We don't do a lot of that trimming. So we do come out and drop line though for, you know, as long as it's not a huge, it's gonna take a whole neighborhood or whatever, we'll drop your line to your house, or if it's 2 or 3 customers, we'll work with you and help you set up the outage. We'll take it down if you get a contractor that wants to cut it down, or you want to cut some down yourself. So we try to maintain a 10-foot clearance on our uninsulated 7,000 and 12,000 volt lines. So some places we can't get that. We either we've had the budget flows. You know, we got money to trim trees. We don't have money to trim trees. And when you don't have money to trim trees, when you come back to trim the trees, nobody wants to see you, and nobody wants you to see get what you had, so you can't whack. You can't whack. I mean, you guys have seen some of the trees we've cut. I mean, so having a completely underground system is not feasible. I mean, your utility rates would be twice what they are now, if not more. And you try to add circuits and stuff like that on an underground system, it just is a nightmare. I mean, every time you do something, it's trenching or directional drilling, and there's only so much room in the terraces and stuff like that. So. Yeah, there's always somebody else there, telephone or cable TV or us on the other side of the road with gas or whatever. So. And nobody wants it in their yard. Nobody wants us to bury in their yard, so that costs money. So that's why you see a lot of our lines that come out of substations still overhead. A lot of the main feeders, big lines, are very, they're expensive to bury. We want you to, we want to be the provider of choice, or we want to at least be able to look at neighboring utilities and go at least and get a deal. At least you're 2 cents an hour, kilowatt hour cheaper than, whatever's east or south of us.
Oh, we have a choice.
You don't have a choice, but you don't have a choice. Definitely don't have a choice. But at least if we're going to be a monopoly, we want to be, would you choose? I don't know. Let's pick a utility. Commonwealth Edison. Would you pick them as your?
Let's see, you pick the one that doesn't border our location.
Well, I work, like I said, I work in Lake Geneva or whatever. But
I think they got one of the highest summer rates they traditionally have in the country.
Commonwealth?
In the top Communist Edison down there. Oh, whatever. See something. They're pretty
I'm trying to make, I'm trying to maintain a system.
Let's go blow stuff up.
Okay. So I don't know how you guys got your set up. You guys got your explosive limits, or you got a % gas? I'm not sure. What we got there set at, Mike? Mike set them up, so I don't remember. I think we got set for percentage.
What's our meter set up for? Percentage?
Part per million goes to.
Why is there gas already in the house?
Careful, he might have a heart attack.
I think you just shit the bacon.
So we got about 9% on the upper. We'll see if we get the water heater to go. Too much gas. The lower.
What's it at in the lower?
I couldn't get a good reading. I didn't bring my extension tube.
Over 15 probably.
Probably over 15, yeah. They got too much in the upper now, too. There we go.
You guys really are safe.
We got 17% on the lower.
Ooh.
We had you in a bad day, Craig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good day.
Good day.
Good for me, man.
Go to the bedroom together. Dang.
Got it.
That's nice.
you also get a line coming to this address, please?
Gotta go work.
Not me. Haven't climbed the pole yet.
The apartment number 2, for a possible field.
You allow them. You guys probably know that.
Cody, we do that, they call it, you move your other control, like, no way you don't have.
Spend a lot of time in my attic.
The muskrat, that's right.
You must have got a good night's sleep, Brian. Replaced it today.
Really, I didn't, I woke up late this morning,
You woke up late? Ryan, you woke up late?
I did.
So you weren't an hour early to work?
I was still on time, I just, not my time, I just didn't get up as early as I
Having a girlfriend can wear you out. He's not used to that.
Still trying to figure it out.
Yep, everything's new.
So a reminder, those of you guys that were at Meredith and some of the pictures we showed you of the LP explosion, the one that settles to the bottom, LP usually you get that lift and then fall when you have an explosion. Gas obviously rises, usually get that blowing out of the wall. Any of you have seen pictures of, I'll use the Meredith one again, the front wall was up against the tree. The other two walls were blowing out and really essentially the roof was laying on the floor.
Oh, there we go.
Try that water heater again. Just got in and take a shower. That's no, I mean I'm only putting gas in there about probably the same as your house, 7 inches of water column. It doesn't take, it's a little area, but I can fill it up in about 2 seconds. If you guys got one of these, I'd really recommend if you're going to be using it, just be familiar with it. Just to teach our guys, they get 4 years of apprenticeship before they're allowed to, even be on call by themselves. We use it before we enter a building. I'm sure you guys do. I'm not sure what your practices are, but just be comfortable with the tooling you have so you can make an educated decision.
Well, we get a gas bill, we're calling you guys in.
Well, that's fine. No, that's understandable, but we're fine with that too, so just,
We got a brand new one last year. Was it the 7th?
yeah, it sense it, so. And I always ask, I think, I was asking you guys, but just be, that's why I said be aware of your tool, because you can, when I do like Tunnel Boy, they have theirs on lower and upper explosive limits, because then they don't have to try to remember if it's 4 and 15, or if they're on propane, if they got to remember different numbers. They try to stick around the handle, that didn't work, so just be familiar with how your tool works, and if you're on a CO call and some of that stuff, just so you can understand. And like I said, you guys heard it on the radio too. That's probably what we responded the most of, the CO calls. And then we have to make that hard decision. Unfortunately, aging houses, nobody does, I shouldn't say nobody. A number of landlords and owners don't do a lot of maintenance, so you have rusted out pipes, burners that aren't cleaned up, or water heaters that are at the end of their useful life. People that have been cooking all day, or an old gas stove that have been cooking inside all day with no windows open on like a day like today. So you guys find a good way to educate the general public. I think somebody mentioned earlier, couldn't smell natural gas. That was a question I was asked after that Meredith house explosion. What do you do to educate the general public that can't smell natural gas?
Yeah, I don't know.
So if you look out there now, there's some CO detectors and some of the stuff that plugs into the walls that do have gas detection now. So if you're I don't have a real keen nose for natural gas. I work for the utility. So just, I have one at home. Just, my wife will smell it before I will for natural gas. So we've all had, I don't know if you guys have ever had it, but somebody bumped into the stove, turn the burner on a little bit, next thing you know, you have some natural gas spilling over into the house. So. That's all I had for you guys. All right, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.